Hi, Fellowship. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share and to thank you for being part of the ministry we have in the Philippines. Well, waking after 2 weeks of heavy rain and a night of torrential downpour, I knew we needed to swing into emergency mode immediately. First, I phoned the senior staff at our ministries to check everyone was okay. Then I issued instructions that our schools were to be used as evacuation centers. Our staff are amazing, and most have worked with us for years, and they knew exactly what was needed. Saying a quick prayer, I put on my yellow waistcoat to stop me being a victim and so leaders can spot me easily. But as we were leaving the house to load emergency equipment in the car, we saw that we ourselves were blocked in by a flood. Mark, my PA, arrived, and we were able to dig a drainage channel, and we were able to get out. So we quickly got Christine to Payatas, and then Mark and I returned to the danger areas. These pictures and videos are from walking distance to our house. Here Mark and I helped rescue people from a preschool where they'd been surrounded by water and trapped standing up all night after their homes had been flooded. Mark also had to take photos while I stayed on my phone coordinating with authorities and media. That almost did not work out, as while walking through one nasty flood, I overtook some people, and not realizing I was standing right on the riverbank, I promptly fell underwater and needed to be rescued myself. The water was from the rubbish dump, but I knew to protect my phone first. It was a little bit broken, but the car heater got it working partially again. All this time I was just thinking, how are we going to meet the needs of the people? But praising God that I knew that your money was on its way, so I could borrow against it to meet the emergency needs. But by this time, over 80% of the city was flooded, and 2 million people were in evacuation centers. That just cannot be compared to any floods ever in the UK. Arriving at the Payatas dump site again, the school was heaving. We were so thankful that a neighbour opened their house up as an overflow for the evacuees. In the UK, of course, social services and the police will take care of these needs, feeding everybody, etc. We don't have that in the Philippines, so we work with the local government. I just thank the Lord that the roads were passable. But while we were at Cashew, we were called to a landslide in this photo. Sadly, we were informed on arriving that 11 people were dead. Then we heard that a crack had appeared in the dump site, which is just a mountain of rubbish. This spread fear through the whole community. Our role was to spread hope and to spread the good news. Christine used to work looking after tourists at a 5-star tourist resort. Well, here she was looking after scavengers at a rubbish dump in a quite different scenario, but with exactly the same smile. The one she needed. After quickly visiting the ministries, we doubled back to the rescue efforts. Early in the morning, rescuers had got themselves trapped after a failed rescue attempt to get some young children. 8 hours later, and the rescuers were still there, trapped, but the waters were receding, and finally we were able to get to them. We had to get enough to feed everybody in 2 locations. Papaya was okay, as we just emptied the kitchen at Mango, but Cashew doesn't have provisions like that. Just thank God that we were able to feed everybody that first night. Please notice in the evacuation centers, it is nearly all women and children. Most of the men wanted to wait as close to their houses as possible to rescue anything that could be salvaged before anything else was stolen. We had a number of emergency medical needs, including one elderly lady with TB on oxygen. We were able to get her the medicine she needed and to comfort her. But she'd lost everything in a fire just 3 months before. The government had just moved to our area, which is a resettlement centre. At first she was just so thankful to get a government house, only to lose the little that she had left under water. She stayed with Papaya for a few days and did not really want to return home. Imagine if you had lost everything. As we went around, we saw Bibles, photo albums, school books, all soaking, wet and ruined. We knew they were special memories. And we promised the people we would do what we could and replace the Bibles. And we've given a lot of school supplies as well, so the children are back in school. The days that followed were getting people back home, keeping them fed and healthy. And we had opportunities to share our faith in word and action. My favorite verse is James 1:27. The worship that God our Father counts as pure and holy is to look after orphans and widows in their distress and to keep ourselves from being polluted by the world. Quite often this verse is quoted in two different parts, but it's one. It works together. When you're in the middle of meeting people's needs, you really don't need to be worried about getting polluted by the world. In disasters, I always keep this verse in my head. It's what keeps me going, knowing that what I'm doing is praising God. Well, thousands were fed, hundreds accommodated. Many have received medical help and other help. And none of this would really have been that possible without you putting the seed money in to start us. The medical missions, well, they're still ongoing. The last one is actually today as you're watching this. And your provisions are still saving lives. As Christians, we talk quite often about saving lives. Well, some of us as missionaries are blessed to be able to save people in more ways than one. But only through the support that you provide are we able to do this. The children have a message for you. I hope you like the card. God used you greatly. We honor your faithful response to his prompting, which meant we could meet the needs. God bless.
Thank you.